Deep-rooted connivance in high places and impunity are some of the factors making corruption difficult to tackle in Nigeria. A former aide to the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, for the 2023 elections, Atiku Abubakar, when he was the vice president from 1999 to 2007, has revealed some of the reasons why corruption cannot be pinned on him in a damaging corruption allegation against Atiku. The former aide, Michael Achimugu, went to court to establish that the former vice president is allegedly corrupt. In the affidavit, he swore to before the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, on the 2nd of December 2022, Achimugu said there was an allegation of corruption against Atiku regarding a 100 million naira bribe given to him by former governor of Plateau State, Joshua Dariye. The court action was preceded by a video in which Achimugu played back an alleged telephone conversation Atiku had with him when he requested to know how to respond to an issue of corruption allegation leveled against him when he was the vice president. Let's share part of the video with you.
On the 13th of June 2018, there were serious corruption allegations flying all over social media about 100 million naira bribe that had been given to Atiku Abubakar by the then Plateau State Governor Joshua Dariye. By the direct personal admission of the governor, he had given 100 million naira to Atiku. For this reason, the governor was found guilty and was sentenced to jail time. I needed to know what the truth about the allegation was before proceeding to plan a defense strategy. And so I reached out to my then principal, Atiku Abubakar, via email, asking him, the details of the issue and how to proceed. And so he had told me that, in his reply, that that money had been paid into an SPV. I didn't know what an SPV was, so I asked him. And so he gave a brief description, but since it was obvious I wasn't quite, I didn't have clarity, he put a call through to me on that same day. On my blog, you'd find the phone number that he had used to call me on that day, and the number I was also using by which I had received that call that day. And in his call, in our conversation, he admitted to having advised his then boss, President Olusegun Obasanjo, against what he called open corruption, stating that he practiced corruption by stealth or corruption by SPV, if you will. Went on to explain in further strategy meetings that through those SPVs he, Atiku Abubakar, had set up. Don't forget that he was in charge of the economy, and every monetary transactions had to pass through him, and they had used those SPVs, to fleece Nigerians, using those monies for private businesses, to settle their friends and political issues as well. That particular conversation gave me a little insight into the truth. It also opened my mind to the knowledge that the reason he's always been confident in defending himself, in allegations of SPV by telling Nigerians, show me evidence if you have any against me, is because SPVs, those companies he had set up by himself, had placeholder directors. So nothing could ever be traced back to him directly. That's why Atiku is always confident about corruption allegations. But it also forced me to begin to investigate deeper, the man that I was serving at the time.
Yes, Kazeem, let me start from you. You worked with the former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, spoke on his behalf, and what is the story about?
Well, before I react to this, let me tell you, in simple terms, that corruption is not just mismanagement of naira and kobo, or financial gratification, or financial profligacy, and all of that. It's also about abuse of process. That is why the global definition of corruption is monopoly plus discretion minus accountability. That's the definition of corruption globally. So it is not just when you monopolize your position to impugn on your discretionary powers, then you will be found wanting because there will be a lack of accountability. And this is exactly what has happened in the video you have just shown us. Because Atiku Abubakar, allegedly by Mike Achimugu, set up a special purpose vehicle for which certain monies will be paid into for the running of the party and other, activities. He named Anyuba, he named Fashawe, they are still living. And the third person that he was trying to name would be Waziri Mohammed, who died in the Bellevue air crash in Lagos. So the point is, for a sane society, by now, as we speak, if you were to apply rule of law, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar should be cool enough with the relevant security agencies to provide further insight into the claims on the voice note that is in circulation to ascertain the authenticity. And once it is ascertained, then you take up issues with him. But just like what I said earlier, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is even contesting, campaigning to be you and I president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and commander-in-chief of armed forces. If a man with this kind of background, with the kind of allegations that are flying all over the place, that are so real and authentic by virtue of what Mike Achimugu has put out, even in his affidavit and his videos, then you and I are in trouble. So I am expecting
Kazeem, just 4 years ago, you were his mouthpiece. You were his spokesperson. What's happening?
Yes.
You are not calling for his prosecution?
No, there's nothing happening. My position is very clear. In 2018, I wasn't an Atiku Abubakar supporter. I was a member of the PDP. I supported Tambuwal for president, and in Port Harcourt, we lost out. When the party was setting up its campaign structure, they included some of us as spokesmen of the Presidential Campaign Council of the PDP. I wasn't, it was Segun Sowunmi who was Atiku. I never supported it on the basis of an individual, but on the basis that he was the candidate of the party, and by extension, I needed to showcase the party. But we didn't have information that.
Tony Abato, while we were trying to reconnect with Kazeem Afegbua, it seems a lot of things gone wrong in the last 4 years, and Kazeem Afegbua is now calling for the prosecution of Atiku Abubakar.
Well, I think there is more to it than meets the eye. In as much as I believe that as a Nigerian, anybody is free to associate or to take a particular position on any particular issue. But the fact remains that by what Achimugu has said now, if Nigeria were to be a sane society, a lot of Nigerians parading the street are not supposed to walk freely on the street.
That's not the code of law.
What I'm saying is that he has not been tried. What we are saying is that some people are higher than others in Nigeria. If it is an ordinary Nigerian, the person, based on an allegation, when the policeman comes to your house, you say, until you get to the station, we are not going to say anything about you. But in this case, events of the last 5 years have shown that when somebody steals 107 billion naira as a Accountant General, and you give him a slap in the wrist, bail condition, and you ask him to go home, which means that somebody who has the capacity to steal more than that will steal more than that. Talk less of somebody who has been in office as Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for 8 years. I think there is a lot of things wrong with Nigeria. And it is wrong because there are no good institutions in place. naturally. What is a special purpose vehicle? In what place is it in the Nigerian law or in the way the government is administered? Which means signatories to that particular account, are they government officials? Are they politicians? If they are politicians, what role are they playing in government? If they are government officials, what is their enabling power? So I think a lot of things is swept under the ground in Nigeria because our political leaders or leaders at any point in time, they lack the courage to use the law and to be sincere about what they are doing, because it's all about sincerity. If today, after probably 12 years out of power, Nigerians are yet to be told how we spent our $16 billion on electricity, nobody has come out to give a convincing explanation. So which means a lot of water has passed under the ground.
All right, we'll take this break. When we come back, we conclude on this matter. So, thank you for staying with us. Kazeem, let me go back to you. What is the implication of this allegation now? Because this young man, Achimugu, is saying that he's ready to release more.
Well, I want him to release more. Just like I was saying before, there was a break in transmission. We didn't get to know a lot of these details when we were campaigning in 2019 for the PDP. And it was one of the reasons that I had to back out this time around, that I only want to support an Atiku presidency after a Buhari presidency. Well, you see, the point is, I was raising, there are laws in Nigeria for the big men, there are laws for the poor men. Because if the law is supposed to be the common arbiter for all persons to provide a level playing field, the likes of Atiku today should be facing serious interrogation in the hands of the security agencies. But everybody is pretending that nothing is wrong. And yet you want to tell me that you want to fight corruption. You see, this is why I told you that for this purpose, our anti-corruption fight is still very fraught with problems. For you to become chairman of EFCC, you have to lobby. For you to become chairman of ICPC, you have to lobby. For you to become staff of these places, you'll be seeing different notes from senators, House of Rep members, from big men and all that. The moment you put processes of anti-corruption under this kind of fraudulent process, in a manner that you cannot use merit to determine who qualifies to head what, then you are only, spraying deodorant in the entire process. So I want the relevant agencies, ICPC, EFCC, NFIU, the DSS, they should be bold enough to bring Atiku to book. They should interrogate him. Invite this young man, Mike Achimugu, to speak to those issues. These are serious issues that have to do with our resources as a nation, our collective patrimony. And one individual cannot be larger than the law. And by curious arrangement, if by accident he becomes president, he's going to be presiding over our collective patrimony. How do you define that? How do you move the country forward? The other guys, Abata was talking about $16 billion on electricity and no result, and nobody is being queried. And even those who played the pivotal role during that era are the ones who are endorsing candidates today and want us to follow their route. So as a country fighting corruption, I think we are still just at the formative stage, if you ask me, because I haven't seen structure, the institutional structure that will lead to a functional system where rule of law applies without discrimination.
In all this, there should be a kind of minimum standard.
Yes. If
you are to be qualified to be candidate of a political party. I believe INEC should have done this kind of allegation, any of this.
I think basically maybe because those people who wrote the Electoral Act, or those who passed the Electoral Act 2020 are part of the problem, the National Assembly. Where for INEC to tell you that they cannot disqualify anybody so far he can emerge from the party, it's a sanction of the fact that anybody can contest the election. Even when you have killed your wife the first day, you will stand the election. I think upon all, this is a challenge for both SCPC and the EFCC to step in. Yes, the man made an affidavit in a regular court of law. SCPC and EFCC should not wait necessarily on petition before they act, because they will say if it is petition, yes, you can back up the petition, you will investigate the petition, and when you see that somebody is culpable, I think at this particular point in time, for us to put Nigeria on the right pedestal, I think EFCC and SCPC should do something about this allegation.
Kazeem, what's your last take on this?
Well, my last take is very simple. We are moving towards 2023 election, February 21st for the presidential election and the National Assembly. I'm calling on Nigerians to please look inwards and ensure that they are able to vote for the candidate of my choice by virtue of track record, vision, capacity to take certain decisions, capacity to build a elite consensus that will move the country forward. In person of Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he has the capacity to look into people's faces and take very hard decisions. And he's one man who has seen it all. So he's not coming to acquire wealth, he's not coming to make fresh name. He's been around our democratic circle and democratic struggle. So I'm calling on Nigerians to please, show support for his aspiration. And for the young man, Mike Achumugu, I want to plead with him that he should please unveil the right story so that we can confidently conclude on the status of the candidate of the PDP. Of course, we have said it before now that there are so many things that are wrong with the PDP. Yes. But at least this one has just given us a lead, which we can follow to logical conclusion.
Journalist, thank you.